Alright, y'all, we're in the kitchen. I got the beans, and I'm going to show you all, hopefully, if he'll quit barking, I'm going to show you all how we cook these beans. Alright, guys, so what you're going to need at first is some type of salted pork and an onion. We're going to go ahead and cut up this salted pork into smaller pieces and an onion, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. We're going to use about that much onion. I'm going to start out with that much onion, and then when the beans are about done, I usually chop onion a little bit bigger into bigger pieces and put it in with it. We've got our onion. Now we're going to take this salted pork. I've done open this bag of salted pork. And so, you know, we're going to use it up. I'm going to go ahead and cut it into large chunks. This is what gives you your flavor. This is how you get southern style beans, mountain beans. We like meat in our beans, and we like fat off of meat. In general, we like grease and fat, and so salted pork has got the fat. It's got the salt in it. Some people would say it has enough salt in it. I do salt my beans just a tad bit while they're cooking, but not a bunch. You'll see throughout how we do it. I'm going to go ahead and pull these pieces apart that I cut up. Something I want to add that I didn't do is there's a hoarder rind on the outside of that salted pork, and I'm cutting it off now. I forgot to cut it off. They wasn't much on it anyways, and I guess you don't necessarily have to cut that off if you don't want to, but I cut like the bigger pieces. You can kind of see it on this. Can y'all see that kind of rind right there? You can cut that off. You don't have to. Now, if you're cutting it like a big piece of salted pork, usually it'll have a thicker rind on it than this does. But where this is like store-bought, it don't have as big a rind. See, that was just a few pieces. There's about 2 more pieces. I need to cut this off up. And then we're done. So I'm cutting this rind off. There we go. Alright, y'all. I got my pot out here. And I'll show you what we're going to do with this. Now, this is a Pioneer Woman pot, and I use it quite a bit, as you can maybe tell on the inside. I don't know, it's got scratches on it. Used it quite a bit. And so I know that this pan is thin. And so it's better to use a heavy bottom pan instead of a thin pan for something like this. It's got to cook a while because you could burn stuff pretty easy. And so we're going to turn our fire on here. And I'm just going to turn it down low here. We're going to let it get a little warm, and then we'll put our salted pork in. Y'all, and I did put, you can't see it. I'm getting ready to pour it out. You can't see it in there, but I did put a little dab of butter. About a ½ tablespoon of butter down in the bottom here just for stickage, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Alright, y'all, I hope you can see this. think you can. We're going to take this meat. And we're going to put it in the warm pan here. We don't want this to burn. We just want it to cook up good. I'm going to rinse my hands and then we'll get a spoon here. You want that good brown stuff in the bottom of your pan. We're going to saute our onions in the grease and the fat that the salted pork produces. That's what gives your beans the flavor. This is your flavor in here. You can add extra seasons, and I usually do add a little bit of the Tony Satcheries for a little kick. I add salt and pepper. I've put garlic powder in, just a smidge of garlic powder. I've added just a few pieces of minced garlic, but you don't have to do that. I guess for like a true mountain bean, you wouldn't really add any garlic or anything like that. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and break these onions up. We want all them onions to be split up so they can absorb all that flavor. But we're going to let this cook and just get that golden brown consistency with the goodies on the bottom of the pan. It's always good to wash your beans. And so I went ahead and rinsed them off real good, ran them through the cauldron a couple times, let that water run through them. We're going to continue to let this cook down a little more. I want a little more color on the head and add my onion. And with my onion, I'm just going to add just a dash of salt. I told you I don't add much salt to the dish, but I do add just a little bit. Now we're getting pretty close with color here. It's not quite where we want it, but it's getting pretty close. We want our onions to be good and see through here. They're definitely cooking down. It smells amazing. Wish they had smell-o-vision because it smells really good. We're going to let them cook down just a smidge more, and then we'll put the beans in and I'll show you what we do. Alright, y'all, we're at the right color. This is where we want to be, right here. A golden brown. Now, I hope my pot's big enough. We're going to pour our beans in. Like I said, I just rinsed these. They got a little water on them. We're going to pour them in without water just for a second. And we're going to mix that. We're going to coat these beans in that onion and salted pork flavoring before we pour the water on them. Okay guys, we've got some warm water in this bowl here, and we're going to cover the beans. We want quite a bit of water in here because it's going to take a while for these to cook down. I'm going to add just a smidge more water. "30 minutes before the beans get done, we pop the taters in. We just want the taters good, and we just want the taters good and cooked through. And so I don't put them in at the beginning because if you do, they get mushy, and I don't like mushy beans or mushy taters. Now, the amount of time that you cook these beans is all dependent on how you like your beans. We like a good soft bean. We like them cooked pretty well down. We don't like them real watery. We don't like all this water in here, and so we're going to cook these down for a while until they get good and soft and until there's not much water in here. Alrighty, y'all, we went and was working on some housework, and these beans are at a good simmer. They've been simmering for a good while. I've just been stirring them every once in a while. You probably wouldn't need to do that if you had a heavier bottom pan, but my bottom is not very thick, so just been stirring them, but I wanted to show y'all where they were at. Alrighty, guys, we are in from the farm. I went ahead and started heating up the beans back up. I'm going to go ahead and get our potatoes ready to go into the beans, and then I'll start on the other things for supper. We've got our chicken thawed out in that bowl there, and then I think I'm going to make some mashed potatoes, and Lakin has requested some corn, and so we're going to get some taters in these beans. Taters are clean. I'm going to take the smaller ones. I'm not going to cut the skin off of them. I'm going to leave the skins on. We're going to take the smaller ones and put them in here. I've got the lid off right now, and I've got it kind of turned up high that way where it's been sitting. Not been on heat, and it's cooled down. The beans are getting tender-ish. I like them a little softer than that. They probably got a good bit still left on them till they cook down. We're going to take these small potatoes and drop them down in here. As you seen in that time lapse, or I hope you seen in that time lapse, I took a toothbrush to them and cleaned the garden dirt off of them. These right here I'm going to cut in half because they're about the size of them in half. I've got a couple of those. We'll cut them in half and pop them in there. But I'm going to continue to add the taters. We want all our taters about the same size. That way they'll cook about the same amount of time. Alrighty, guys, I took the lid off the potatoes, or off the green beans, I mean, and I'm going to check the potatoes here. Sorry. Camera's moving all over the place. Let's see. They are fork tender. That knife is going all the way through them. Let me grab one of the larger green beans. This one right here. We'll let it cool down and I'll taste it, and we'll see if it's ready to go. Alrighty, y'all, I'm gonna grab a little more onion here. Like I said before, I put onion in at the beginning of the cooking process, but I also cut up some chunks of onion, some larger chunks, and put it in the pot. I'm gonna do a little more. And put it in the pot when the green beans are about done. We like onion, so. I'm gonna pull these pieces apart. We'll stir them in. Like I said, I took the lid off of it. That way some of this water will boil down. Still letting the taters cook a little farther down, and letting them get a little softer. We're going to cook this probably until, like I said, the rest of the sides are done. Now we've got some corn back here, chicken that's getting ready. Y'all can't see it. Chicken's in the cast iron here. It's getting ready to go in the oven. It's browning, and we got the taters done back here for the mashed potatoes. Here's a sneak peek of the chicken. I'm letting it brown really good. It's actually done. I'm going to turn the heat off it and put it in the oven. But like I said, it's the green beans that are the star of the show in this video. So we're going to let them continue to cook down just a little bit more. Alrighty guys, these green beans are done. They turned out beautifully. We've got corn still boiling down. The mashed potatoes are done. We're waiting on the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off of these green beans and set them back here. They're done, and I'll show you them plated up when we make our plates. Alright y'all, supper's done. There's the star of the show right there. I got my mashed potatoes just a little more runnier than I like, but they'll be alright. They taste good. Barbecue chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans and taters, and Lakin wanted some corn to go along with hers. They're delicious.